silent treatment.
I was holding the space for you to come in strong.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, we're back.
Welcome to Brain Candy.
The 2019 wrap-up.
Mm-hmm. It's very exciting. We survived another year.
Can you believe it?
I mean...
This one went by so fast.
I bet it did.
It was like one of those roller coasters that starts off like really slow. And it's like painful because you're like going up and you're like,
anticipation.
What the heck is going to happen? Mm-hmm. And then you start going down and your stomach at first is like, oh God. And then you're like, whoa, this is the best. And it's really fun. And then you like are like on the best ride.
Yeah. And now it's almost over.
That was like a great metaphor I just made up.
It was the old
Anybody else relate? Anybody?
Any guys relate to Sarah's roller coaster year? I'm sure a lot of people can. Hold on, I dropped my pen.
Oh, she dropped her pen. She dropped her pen.
Well, I'm just excited because this is a great moment. We
highs
finished the year.
Highs and lows for you?
I just love December because we can reflect and sleep in heavenly peace.
Oh, amen.
Hopefully.
Oh, holy night.
Okay, wait. So remember when we were talking last week or whenever it was about the stepmom?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just bringing it up because that made me laugh again when I listened to it.
I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh my God, you did.
I'm saving it for the ride home today.
It's really funny.
I'm listen to my book on tape.
Because you were so, just really perplexed by why their precaution about drywalling.
I still stand by that.
Like it had nothing to do with the appropriate nature or not of her going topless in front of her stepkids. You were just like, that's just no way to drywall.
No way. Right? And I almost look at like, these are the same type of people who like need the instructions on the iron of like remove clothes before ironing. Because they're like, well, this seems like a better way to do it. And then they are totally like hurting themselves in the process.
I feel like you've done that though.
I mean, I've like held it straight and like done like a quick little.
Yeah.
But like.
Who hasn't?
Not. But you know what I have used with great success is a flat iron.
On your shirt?
Yeah.
Is that something people do?
Like in a pinch, I'll just take it and just run it right down the front of my...
Why don't people talk about that?
Well, welcome to the podcast. We are now.
Yeah, life hack.
Yeah, shout out to my friend Jesse, who definitely is the one who introduced me to that.
Okay.
Yes.
There's definitely... It seems like a fire hazard.
No.
It's the same as an iron?
I wonder, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can adjust the heat setting, and
they
it's just
should make irons like that then. That just clamp.
It does get a little tricky with buttons, and it's not, and because you can't, like you can't really get it's. We have irons for a reason, and they work very well. And I'm a big fan of a steamer, a portable steamer. Have you tried one of those?
I have.
I love them.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
I do.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I was like, if not, I am definitely getting you that.
That's the thing. When you do, you start making lists. Like, here's what I got to buy, Susie.
Yep. Did you get your little screen things? Little camera protectors?
Yes, I added it.
Isn't that good? Mm-hmm. So this is what I do.
Yeah.
Because I have to. And gift giving isn't even my love language.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is just practical, I
appreciate it.
Yeah. Because, we can't have you having any... free peep shows over here.
No. I don't want anyone knowing about my porn habits or nudity or whatever.
Right. It's more like the face that I make while... the thing I'm, most embarrassed about isn't even anything like me getting naked or changing or things other people might be embarrassed about. It's definitely the faces that I'm making when I'm looking at the computer, when I'm just, zoned out.
Even if it's not porn?
Even if it's not porn. Whatever, Mm-hmm. And, I have that awful habit of biting the side of my cheek.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure I'm just going down on it when I'm in the zone and scrolling through Amazon. Good Lord.
And now you're protected.
And now I'm safe.
Hey, did you hear about somebody, we don't know who, in Las Vegas is putting cowboy hats on pigeons?
Oh my God. First of all, that's the most adorable thing I've ever imagined.
Yeah.
And it's super cute, and I feel like I have a suspect.
Okay.
So there's an Instagram account that I can't remember the name of, but I'll try to find it. And he's an artist, I guess a digital artist is what you call him, but he would videotape pigeons, and he would put pin emojis to them. You know how you can pin on Instagram stories and stuff? And he would make little speech bubbles and have him saying things.
Yeah.
And it'll be It's so funny, and I love it. And they're doing things like wearing little cowboy hats.
And now it's no longer just digital.
And maybe I have to take this like IRL to RL.
I just love that you could be walking in a parking lot or whatever
God,
and see like pigeons, pecking at the whatever. And then you're like, wait.
Western
and like rub
style?
your eyes.
Yes.
Like, what am I looking at?
Oh my God.
Can you imagine if you spotted a cowboy pigeon?
I mean,
a cow pigeon?
you really would rub your eyes like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
right?
Oh my gosh.
Then,
I'm trying to think of what more other adorable things I could put on them.
The best part of the headline was cowboy hats on pigeons in Las Vegas. Subtitle, a rodeo was in town but denied any connection.
That's the perfect like accidental.
Do you think the rodeo was involved?
No. But I think the artist who did this may have.
Why do you keep calling it an artist?
Because this is absolutely a what do you call that? Like street art. This is like a performance art, like performative. Yeah, this is performative art.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
PETA is going to get involved. Oh, no.
Well, maybe the pigeons just chose to wear them.
Well, I mean, I've got a dog who loves getting dressed up.
Yeah.
I mean, I will...
That's
you
what I'm
will
saying.
see. You will soon see some photos. I'll do a whole series of her. She on Easter, or was it New Year's or Easter, something like that. I put her in little bunny ears, so that was Easter. And then New Year's, I was like, put her in a little party hat and made it look like she was blowing one of those little...
Yeah.
That was a terrible horn noise, but,
So you think it's possible that the pigeons were involved in their costumes?
Well, the not having thumbs and the ability to then put it on its head is where I kind of question. They were able to train, who was it? Erickson? Somebody, there was I don't think that's who it was. There's a sociologist, psychiatrist, one of those people, who taught pigeons how to command a missile during World War II.
Yeah.
Successfully.
I did
and then they
see
just
that.
shut it down because they were like, maybe,
they shut it down.
maybe not the best idea.
Okay.
But it worked. So if we can teach them to fly... That makes me think if they had them wearing adorable little fighter pilot helmets when they were flying those planes. What if?
Right.
And like
Wouldn't that be cute?
little bomber jackets.
All right. And why would PETA be mad about bringing joy to our lives?
Well, that's true, but they want to like release the bees, so who knows with those guys?
What's that mean?
Like they think bees should not be kept in
hives?
we shouldn't use bees like for their. They want no animal byproducts used, so they don't like the beekeeper thing, even though that's like what bees do, and they're like really digging it.
All right. Well, anyway, I don't know.
Don't at me, PETA people.
I don't know who's responsible, but I just want to say thank you to that person for putting cowboy hats on pigeons. I meant to tell you, before you leave today, I have a Prezi for you.
Oh, I love Prezzies.
I got all this stuff from Cereal School, which is this cool company where we love cereal.
Who doesn't?
We're cereal people.
I love cereal.
And so are the people at Cereal School. And they were like, we want to have all these yummy treats from like when we were kids.
Yep.
But you know that most of those aren't good for you.
Correct.
So they went and tried to recreate the same essence, but with healthy stuff. So they have like cinnamon bun, fruity, cocoa, peanut butter, like all the different.
Oh, I know exactly where yeah.
You see where I'm going
I
here.
do.
And I'm talking sugar-free.
What?
Sugar-free. Like they are.
Oh, that box isn't making it home.
It's really insane, and I don't frankly care how they do it.
Yeah, I don't care either. Just give me the box.
So you can be an adult but enjoy childhood type stuff. So they make like how they're you can.
It's
use
very
it.
on brand for us.
It really is. It's like the brain candy of cereal.
Yes, I love this.
So like I said, they have all those flavors. They're gluten-free, they're grain-free, lactose-free, soy-free, sugar-free, and 16 grams of protein per serving. It's really great. And they are perfectly portioned. They come already portioned for you. 100 calories per bag. So it's even keto, or is it keto? Keto approved. And they're yummy.
I can't wait.
You'll love them. The Cereal School is healthy and delicious snacks that fit perfectly with your and mine nutritional needs. Our listeners get $5 off and free shipping when you go to cerealschool.com and use promo code BrainKitty. The Cereal School is so confident they offer a risk-free satisfaction guarantee on all orders. The only way to get $5 off and free shipping is to go to thecerealschool.com and use promo code BrainKitty. That's TheCerealSchool. Sorry, just one L. My brain like did that thing where like when you spell necessary. .com code BrainKitty. That's Cereal School. Enjoy cereal like a kid again. Now, moving on. Another thing that I thought was funny. Wait, let me find it. Okay, this is actually, it's funny, but it's also kind of cool.
Okay.
The Mafia dropped their gay ban. It was
in air quotes because, come on.
They supposedly didn't let people in the Mafia if they were gay. But they decided
Openly,
to drop the ban after the boss's son was found to be a drag queen.
Oh my God. Well, you know what? They always say there's one in every family.
There is. And they were like, you know what? Let's drop that ban. That's not very nice.
You know, I'm glad that they're just like changing their ways. Still shoving people into trunks, probably. But now you're allowed to do it in a pair of 6-inch heels.
They will let even homosexuals murder people.
They will. We're really
nice.
Changing. Who says we aren't?
But how sad is it
way.
that the Mafia is more progressive than some
That
of my
is so
family
true.
members, for example.
That is so true.
What do you think of that? I didn't actually know they had a gay ban.
I didn't know there was a policy. Like, I want to know their position on other things now.
Although it is funny because they said, okay, we're going to let gay people in as long as they don't parade it about. I'm like, he's a drag queen. What do you think?
I need you to be
bad
wearing
news.
sensible heels.
Right? No self-respecting gay man would be wearing like Easy Spirits or...
Right. Tone it down. Get out of here.
Right. Like, how do you...
And I love that you chose don't parade it around. I'm like, that's kind of the whole thing.
That's like half of
That's
being
pretty much
gay.
the entire month of June.
Right.
And maybe some of July, too.
They were saying that
Don't parade it around. I just love that. That was like a slip. Is that what they real? Was that like a quote?
It was a quote.
Oh my God, I love that. That's totally a slip. I love it.
I wonder though, I don't know. It just is such a the Mafia world is intriguing in general. Just that there are these rules. Because, when I correspond with the criminals, a lot of them are in gangs, and it's very similar where their moral code might not be the same as yours, but they for sure have one.
Yeah.
And it's very strict.
Yeah.
You got to follow the rules.
I know 2 people from this challenge, and I suspect both of their families are in the Mafia.
Come on.
Yep.
What is your evidence? Just like racial profiling?
No. I like enough hints at it.
Get
and
out of
to
here.
Where, I can't wait to tell you who. Because I would say that I'm like...
Do the hints revolve around crime or money?
Both.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What would you do if you fell in love with someone and then found out that they were from like a Mafia family? Would you have to end that relationship, or you just wouldn't parade it around?
I just wouldn't parade it around. I can't see myself ever getting into it. Well, unless the person was very different than his family members, because the kind of traits that come with being a member of the Mafia, based on what I've seen on TV and read in newspapers and seen the movies, I wouldn't really be into. It's like a lot of secrets, a lot of like, don't ask, and just kind of like, and I'm not like that.
You're not very good at
I'm
secrets.
Like, let's talk about every single thing, and there's a lot of communication going on in any relationship I'm in.
When I was reading the article, whoever they were interviewing was talking about how annoyed they are that the Mafia has changed so much and that the new generation is real soft. Like, they were saying that back in the day, like, these Mafia guys would go to jail and then they'd be like, whatever, and they didn't mind and they weren't sad about it. They were, like, committed to the Mafia movement. But now they go to jail and they get depression.
Oh, my God.
Lonely.
Yeah.
Like, we're all just soft now. I don't know.
I think we need to label that as something different. I don't like that. I don't like the label as like soft. I think that, like, I just saw this post on Instagram this morning. It was like somebody had, done this tweet and then like taken a screenshot of it. And it said, it was like a teacher. And he said, I saw a little boy crying in the classroom today. And I came over there and I told him, like, hey, buddy, like, you're a big boy. Like, you just quit crying. And the kid looked at me and said, I'm allowed to express my feelings, And the teacher was like, well, he's got me there.
Yeah.
You are. And it's true. We have a new generation that I think is understanding that you're allowed to express your feelings and have these stuff. And I think that when you are not, then that repression of those emotions, depression often shows up with men as anger issues. Mm-hmm. So no surprise that the people who are murdering people also might be depressed and just expressing their symptoms in a different way because they have to repress all those feelings.
But like when I think about my grandpa and he worked in, I guess it was the steel mill. And he did that his whole life, 50 years or whatever the heck.
Yeah.
I can't think of one person my age that would be willing to do that for 50 years.
It's the vanilla ice cream 31 flavors situation. If you've only had vanilla ice cream your whole life, you're going to be like, that's that good. This is delicious. I'll keep eating it. But if you've never had any other one, but the second you go to 30, like, oh my God, I got to try this. I got to try this. I got to try this. Mm-hmm. It's like an abundance leads to, there are a bunch of studies about this. Mm-hmm. They did it with, some researchers did it with jeans at a store of like, how happy are people with their purchase if they have the option of 60 pairs of jeans to choose from or 3 pairs of jeans. Yeah. And you're always happier when you have the option of fewer. So maybe with the not seeing what else, this is the same thing with social media. It's like somebody was just telling me that we're no longer comparing ourselves, or maybe I listened to this
in the
yes.
Yeah.
It's not like and you said it.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm just telling you exactly what you already told me, that you're not comparing yourself to your next door neighbor where it was kind of like attainable and, maybe they had the similar job. Chances are good your grandpa, his neighbors all worked at the same place too, and that's what they did. And now you have Instagram where you see people who are making millions from like opening up boxes of Legos and Pokemon cards on YouTube. Mm-hmm. That would make me kind of feel like, what the hell am I working this coal mine for?
Yeah. Right. Maybe it's both, though, because I do think we are softer.
Yeah, well, I do agree with that.
Okay. We'll chalk it up to a both situation.
Well, because I would say not softer. We have not built up a resiliency because we're given the easy way out, and that comes from, I think, parenting where they're like, don't really allow children to fail. But even though failure is what we need the most.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about a little something called fertility.
Let's. Oh.
Especially the kind that's modern.
I was just going to say that. I was like, the modern kind? It's the only kind I want.
Modern fertility is so great because you take this super easy test and you send it back, and then they will tell you what's going on in your body.
Yes.
And they'll say if you have eggs and the health of the eggs in your body and all this other great information.
This is really important to have. We have to arm ourselves with new information. And like you always say, be smarter than your doctor.
Yeah, and it costs an arm and a leg if you did go to a doctor for this type of thing. You can pay over $1,000 for it. And for modern fertility, it's only like $159 for the same info. And it'll tell you like if you have PCOS.
Yes.
That's very important to know. But anyway, right now, Modern Fertility is offering our listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com/braincandy. So your test will only cost $139 instead of the hundreds or thousands it would cost you at a doctor's office. Get $20 off your fertility test when you go to modernfertility.com/braincandy, modernfertility.com/braincandy. It's just good to know what's going on in your body.
Yes.
All right. We covered the Mafia, BBB. Okay, debate for you.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
A Wisconsin town outlawed snowball fights.
Okay.
Are you pro or anti?
Man, this is like anything else. It's all fun and games until somebody takes it to an extreme.
Right.
And it's like, where do you draw the line? Because like snowball fights, fine. But snowball fights where you have, I can just imagine like 2 kids, junior high, whatever, and one puts like a rock in the middle of the snowball.
Or even like some snow
Yes,
is
it's
like ice. Yeah.
And it really would hurt. And then you're like, what? I'm just in a snowball fight with him.
Yeah.
And so like, a playful scene from Elf, sure. But like...
that one was pretty bad,
Well,
too.
that's what I was thinking about when he just goes crazy and starts throwing a million of them. And, like, I'm like, it's all fun and games. But then, So, that's, like...
They said that it was the same as a weapon.
I feel like it can be.
It is.
And it depends on who's throwing it.
Yeah.
If it's, like, Lincoln throwing a snowball at me, fine. One of my brothers, forget it. Mm-hmm. I'd be really mad. And it hits you, like... that could really put an eye out, they say.
Have you ever enjoyed snowball shenanigans?
Yes, every time. Because I didn't grow up in the snow, so it's all novelty to me.
Okay, so you never felt like, ouch, that hit my face.
I did. But then I, like, got over it because it was like, oh, look what, this is, like, part of the being in the snow.
It's whimsy.
And it's whimsy. And nobody chucked at me with, like, malice or what, like, and rage.
Yeah.
It did not.
Imagine, though, if maybe you've done this where you're on a challenge in a snowy climate. I mean, that would be terrible. Because it would be like the pool shenanigans, except snow.
Yeah, it would. It would. And then they would not know where to draw the line. And you know what I hate even more so than that? I would make this illegal. Snowball fights allowed. Snowballs down the shirts or any other form of clothing, harassment. Should not be allowed. I do not like that.
Yeah,
and that seems to be the favorite with people. Like that has happened to me more often than having a snowball thrown at me.
They put snow down your shirt or something.
Yeah, or like down the back of my pants or like down my back. I hate that because I hate the cold.
Yeah, and then you're wet. Mm-hmm. I have to agree with Wisconsin on this.
Yeah.
I understand why people, when they saw the headline, were like, oh, Scrooge,
Right.
that kind of thing. But the truth is, it's really dangerous.
Really dangerous.
It really is.
Yeah, no, I'm like thinking about it, and it's like one of those things where people like take it too far.
And I think that Wisconsin might have been abusing their snow privileges because clearly there was incidents that necessitated
there must have been
action.
Do you think it's one of those things where like now they're going to have like a snowball fight park? Where like you're like signing up to go,
right,
and
like
it's like
a shooting range.
Yeah, like that. Where like we've deemed this weapon, but you can use it within this. And like our
you know
snow
what? That's actually a really good business idea.
I know. I'm thinking it would be because like you're not allowed to do that, which then drives the child's desire to do it up even more. You got a Christmas birthday party. Yeah. You host outdoor, and you make it kind of like paint. Stole the words right out of my mouth. Gosh, dude, we have such good ideas. Sharks. Do you live in Wisconsin? Are you dying to throw a snowball but don't want to do it without getting caught by the police?
Yeah, because it really is. So it could be like paintball, where as long as everyone's in agreement, this is allowed.
Or maybe they wear a mask, like a face mask, and like the parents get to just watch them go nuts, and then you get all the energy. They get to do that. This is a genius bit. Mm-hmm. We're moving to Wisconsin.
I bet I wouldn't even be surprised if the law was done by snowball lobbyists.
Big snowball.
Big snowball, right? Because they're like, hey, if we outlaw it in this regard, then we can make money off of it.
Totally.
In this other way.
Oh, come on. We're on.
This is.
Where's
that detective emoji?
Yes. I'm on to you.
All right. I wasn't sure if you would agree.
No,
I thought we might have to fight about it.
No, as somebody who would probably be the one hit by snowballs more often than the thrower of them, I'm for this law.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Also, loogies, no, those two. No tying shoelaces together. None of those. I don't like any of those kind of pranks. Shoelaces.
Okay. Next thing I need to talk about. This is dark, so let's get serious.
Oh, dark. Oh, okay. She even sat up
on Big Brother Spain, which I forget the name. It's like Grande Hermano or something. I forget. It's not
Grande Hermano. Stop, Susie.
Yes,
that's really funny.
It's the same setup as all the Big Brother that you're familiar with.
Yeah,
and a gal got drunk and some guy was hitting on her in the house, and she was like, "Buzz off," and then she passed out and he assaulted her. And they kept filming.
Oh, my God.
She didn't know. They took her aside and made her watch.
Oh.
And filmed her watching.
Oh my God. No, this is the loss. This is the, sue the shit out of them. That everything. Get them, put them, fuck that.
Can you believe?
No, I'm mad.
I cannot believe.
Oh my God.
That is beyond sick.
I'm like slowly one by one going through these things that you just listed off.
Can you imagine?
And one of those is too much to handle, let alone everything else they just made work. This is why, oh my fucking God. This is why somebody who is a mental health professional needs to be on call and on staff at all times. Mm-hmm. Like on retainer, or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Because that is, I know, the crew is like 28 themselves. But this one is one where you should have understood right from wrong what the actual fuck. Like, they should be charged with soliciting, like, not soliciting, like, isn't there something of like allowing
like a bystander,
whatever. Yeah, there's
rule.
Definitely a
because if you see a crime happening to someone and you don't intervene in some way, even if that's just calling 911, then you could be held responsible.
Yeah, you should be.
And I just can't conceive of anyone thinking this is the correct thing to do.
No, I can't. I want to know who these cameramen were. There's no way there's a woman. Each of them. I'd go after every single one of them.
I just can't. I was stunned.
Because it's the only way. When it's stuff like this, often there's not laws to protect her. So the only way that you can do it is in these, what are they called? Civil court, civil cases.
And who knows what it's like in Spain. I don't know the setup there, but I just was disgusted. And then, so it's bad enough that you let something terrible happen to somebody, but then to then make her watch her own assault
is so re-traumatizing.
And then to
make her watch it. Oh my God!
She had no idea.
And oh my God! You didn't consent to any part of that, or even them watching it. Oh my God! It's so bad.
So bad.
It's so bad. So what do they say is happening?
So I believe that this happened more than a year ago, and the footage of the assault.
Did they air that season? No, they should not have.
I think they aired the season.
Oh my God! I'm so mad.
Well, actually, it airs while it's happening. So now I'm confused.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure, but he did end up leaving, of course. Mm-hmm. And I guess she did too. But, like, the damage is done.
The damage is done. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I can't even.
But, we're shocked, but not really.
I know.
Like, in a way, it would.
It's
I can't imagine them doing anything
and
else.
It just makes me wonder about, like, what we don't hear about. That's not a show like Big Brother, where it's, everything is filmed 24/7. I just think that there are, it's really
beyond.
Yeah. God.
How could you possibly think, though, like as a producer, you know what we should do? We bring her in here, we make her watch the footage, and then film her watching it to get that reaction on camera. Unless it was just for
liability purposes. I know that's where my mind went to, and they're like, "Well, we just for ours." No, you
because she said I wouldn't have chosen to watch it if I had been given the choice. They didn't say you were assaulted. Here's the footage. They just turned it on.
Oh my God! No, she should sue the motherfucking shit out of them and take them for every penny, and she deserves every single one. And because of the pain that causes, is absolutely worth that.
Yeah,
not because like some, I don't know, eye for an eye bullshit, but it's because that is going to bring her pain in the future, and that will cause her loss of a bunch of income, relationships, everything. This is going to be something she deals with for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
I know. It's terrible. Well, you know what time of year it is.
What?
New Year's resolutions. Trying to get your life in order.
Amen.
Some people don't love it, but I love it. I love the idea of like fresh start.
Yes.
And you can make improvements.
Hey, and you know what? there's never a better time for a fresh start than right this second.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Sarah, preach.
Yes.
And the best way to do that is with Noom, which is a really wonderful app and program that you can use to help you keep your goals in order and have accountability and support from a community. Maybe you want to eat better or have more energy, or maybe you want to have an improved sense of self-worth or less anxiety. Yes. These are the kind of resolutions that, they shouldn't be drudgery because they're going to improve your well-being. It's based in psychology. Noom teaches you to do things the way you should do them and empowers you with the tools to break those bad habits and replace them with better ones. It's designed by psychologists, and it's not complicated or anything like that. They just want to keep you on task, and you can use, only 10 minutes a day if you want. It's a perfect time to make a step towards healthier habits. Sign up for your trial today at Noom, Noom.com/braincandy. What do you have to lose? Visit Noom.com/braincandy to start your trial today. That's Noom, Noom.com/braincandy. All right. That was depressing.
Oh, so depressing.
But I really felt like it was important to talk about because we've seen the ways that these shows can be corrosive.
But this is one of those things where I tell people when I'm like pitching this idea to whoever's listening,
sure,
about why I want to be a therapist for reality shows. Mm-hmm. And I always say, like, it's not a matter of if something's going to happen; it's a matter of when.
Absolutely.
And this is the perfect example. Mm-hmm. This is the when.
I was talking to somebody about how I really don't enjoy going into the ocean.
Uh-huh.
And they were like, was it because, like, what's in there, like, creatures? And, like, no, it isn't that. It's, like, the power of the ocean and all that.
Yeah.
And then I said, you know what, though? I bet it has something to do with the fact that every time I've ever been in there, really, it's been triggered for the show.
Yes, you're right.
And they'll be like, they took me out one time.
Oh, this is totally it.
Like in Australia. I'm 18. I'm not a good swimmer. And they just said, what do you call that? Where you tread water.
Yeah.
And then the helicopter's going to come and then you're going to like try to grab on or whatever. And I'm like, you get accustomed to this like ridiculous stuff.
Terrifying.
But it has an impact. So
Absolutely.
Imagine if it wasn't,
you're totally right.
Right?
Yes.
That's just a small thing, but
this is a big one.
Yeah,
that's what I say. Like relationship, she's going to need therapy down the road.
Yeah. So sad.
I don't.
Because he was trying to hit on her all the time, and she was like, "No, thanks." So she made it clear.
That is awful.
I didn't know they really had alcohol in. Maybe in Spain it's different. I don't think they have too much in the regular
Big Brother?
house.
I have no idea. I've never watched it.
So I saw a tweet this morning from Bette Midler, and it was a picture from a museum, and there was a beautiful painting in the background, and you know how they have benches, and there were 3, I don't know, teenagers with their back to the art on their phones.
Of course.
And she just wrote, "What's wrong with this picture?" And I wanted to know your thoughts about that.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Which part? Her tweet or that behavior?
No, that behavior.
Okay.
I don't like... It really bugs me seeing just the way people are on their phones all the time, And it's like, I understand the importance of like you and I use it for work, for like all my stuff for my job as a therapist is on my phone. Everything is, there's all like, that's how we do it now.
Sure.
And, but there's like a time and a place for everything. It would be the same to me as taking your phone out in the middle of a play, or it's if you want to use your phone, go somewhere where but then it's like, who are they disturbing? And maybe it's like, fine, at least they're there.
I love that you're having a debate with yourself.
I know I am. I'm like, I don't know.
I was going to be like, okay, boomer. You
right.
know how that's what they say?
No joke. I've like just learned this. Like, okay,
you're
boomer.
the boomer in this case. Because I'm fine with it. It doesn't bother me. And I kind of don't like that she tweeted that. Because you don't know the context.
Right.
They have museum apps.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, we're making assumptions about them that we don't know to be true.
Through the lens of her knowledge and her understanding and her use of the phone.
Right.
When she uses the phone, it's for these specific reasons, not anything related to the museum, so they couldn't be doing anything like that.
And I feel like museums are places that are consumed and used in different ways by different people. And
I'm changing my position.
Yeah. I mean, I get the sentiment that like,
right.
Really? Mm-hmm. We're just going to stare at our phones the whole time we're at the museum. But they could have been there all day looking around. They could be texting their folks. So who knows?
Yeah. And the fact that they're still at a museum and getting some sort of exposure to it. Because I think about how I was when my mom dragged me to museums in Italy when I was like 12, 13, 14. I would have killed for a phone. And instead of a phone, I doodled in my notebook. Like, I was so uninterested in going to any of those.
But it still had an impact.
Huge.
Just being there.
Yes. Yeah. It's exposure, like just a little bit of exposure to that. Yeah. Just like how you said, just having 2 books in the house makes like all the difference. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing. Just going to maybe 2 museums probably makes a big impact, even if they're barely paying attention.
Plus, I also don't think that it is relegated to or limited to only young people. I see boomers, etc.
all the time.
So,
and sometimes even worse.
Yeah, to say it's generational to me is false.
It's totally not. I push back on that as well.
Yeah,
because it's person to person for sure. And I see people of that boomer generation who then turn their children into like the content of all those things, and I hate that even more.
Yeah.
So
we're all doing our own.
Yeah.
If you want to call them sins on our phones, and it does feel like it's all the angst is directed towards young people when they're not the ones doing all the stuff.
Yeah. I changed my position.
Okay.
I'm anti now.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm very flexible and
well, you're open-minded.
I'm open-minded. You show me because,
Now, if I saw them doing that all day long, it would probably annoy me.
Like,
or if they were being rude or disruptive, taking selfies, affecting other people's enjoyment of the museum, that would be different. Mm-hmm. But they're like just sitting on a bench.
Mm-hmm. And we need to know a lot more.
Yeah.
What is this kid? Is this guy like...
And the picture behind them was a nude woman. So, like, not all people would be into that.
There you go.
Like Hannah Gadsby on her tour, her Nanette... No, not Nanette. It was, what's she called the next tour?
I don't know.
It was Douglas.
Yeah,
Douglas.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, she talked about that, how a lot of the art from that era is not exactly progressive.
Right.
So we can't act
and
like
the new
that's
stuff
great.
They do like, because like my aunt, she leads art tours for kids in junior high at the Los Angeles Museum of Modern Art and or Los Angeles Museum of Art, I guess. She says that a lot of them it depends on what she shows them and what they're going to go look at and like what the content is, and they can't just walk through a museum. Yeah. They need to be there needs to be almost like a theme. Like she'll come up with the museum has like different themes that they kind of create these tours around.
Yeah.
And when they're fun stuff, like one that she did was like using your voice and like speaking out against like authority or something like that. And so she took them to like different ones that did that, and it just resonated with the kids in a way. And they're like, how do you speak out? And then she related it to Twitter and like, well, you use social media and things like that. This was kind of the social media back then, and how blah, 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 blah. And so like connecting that to, or now there, like you're saying, apps at the museum where you can like engage with cool stuff and your phone. Mm-hmm. Like, oh my God, I went to a climbing gym recently. It's not a museum, but just how like technology is getting integrated into this stuff. They have this rock wall where it's a bunch of handholds and footholds, that you'd climb on like one of those indoor gyms. And there's a ton of them, and they're all really, really close together, and they all have little lights on them. And anybody like who downloads the app can create, there's like millions of possibilities of routes that you can create.
Yeah.
And anybody can create a route. And then when you like scan the little QR code and like find the route that you want by the person that you want, like famous climbers and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it lights up which one you should grab.
That's cool.
And it like creates this route for you so like everybody can be connected, and like you'd be staring at your phone half the time before you start doing this, but you're like engaged in a way that is really cool and makes it fun. And exposes you to more.
I
in that
love
world.
that. And furthermore, it's like, do you remember what it's like to be 14?
Yeah, no shit.
I mean, I didn't want to go to a museum.
I didn't want to do much of anything.
Except
eat
talk
pizza.
to my friends.
Yeah.
Probably, and I would have done it on my phone if that were an option at the time.
100%.
So I just feel like, okay.
When I think
down.
back about the phone, I was just talking to Ren about this last night. We were talking about like our first phones and those kind of things and like how old we were and all this stuff. And I have feelings of like not love, but like I really liked that. Like I enjoyed my phone. But when I reflect on the phone I had when I was like 15, when I got my first phone, like that time I have like happy memories associated with the phone. Now it's kind of like stress associated with the phone.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I was a teenager and it let me do all those things that I really wanted to do as a teenager anyway.
Yeah,
So
what freed you at one age is now like your leash.
Yes. So
Right.
that's, again, Bette Midler looking through it through the eyes of, like, that's her leash and the thing that causes her stress and anxiety. Why are these kids engaging with it? But that's...
Instead of this quote-unquote beautiful art. Well, maybe they don't think it's beautiful.
They don't care right now.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah. Okay, boomer. I love that, though. That's such a good response.
Tell you what I love.
Tell me.
Great sheets.
Holy sheet, do I.
Brooklyn and sheets. It's like the ultimate form of self-care.
We're getting a new set because Ren and I are moving in and we're going to treat ourselves to a new, because,
Yeah.
to be honest, white luxurious linen bed sheets,
Yeah.
as beautiful as they are, when you got two people and a dog,
Yeah.
we're going to have to mix up the colors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just practical.
Yeah.
Save
you
the
do.
white ones for like my summer.
Yeah. Yeah, those are for special
So I'm going to go for like a
moments.
gray. I love their gray color.
Brooklyn and sheets are so great because they are affordable, but they're basically like hotel quality, and they are direct to consumer, so they can do that and give you a great deal without sacrificing the quality of the items. And now they have towels and shower curtains and bath mats and just everything you need. They even have loungewear, for Pete's sake.
Yeah, so comfy.
If you like softness and comfort, essentials to help you relax, Brooklinen has it all. Brooklinen.com is the perfect place to hit refresh in the new year. Go on, make yourself comfortable. Brooklinen is so confident in their product that all their sheets, comforters, loungewear, and towels come with a lifetime warranty. Get 10% off your first order and free shipping on all the new sheets when you use promo code BRAIN only at brooklinen.com. That's BROOKLANEN.com. Brooklinen, everything you need to live your most comfortable life.
Yes.
All right. I like that we're coming to so many agreements, you and I
know.
today. This is weird.
We're in sync. Well, these are all just, I feel like we're on the right side.
Yeah, we are. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is how freaky it is that I never thought about this, but this guy had a bone marrow transplant, and as a result, he became something known as chimera, which is like two
chimera.
DNA. Chimera?
Yeah, like when you take two animals and you mix them together, and they're a hybrid of.
It's called chimera.
That's how I've heard it pronounced, but maybe
I've
you're
only
right.
read it. I've only read it,
Okay.
so I don't know how it's pronounced, but it's CHIMERA. But which can happen when you are a bone marrow recipient. But like his is
What's the
more
effect?
extreme, like
Yeah.
where when he donates blood or whatever, sometimes it's just the other guy.
crazy. Okay, yeah, where he's like holding two people's DNA inside of his body. I've heard about this.
And like when he ejaculates,
Oh my! Continue. Finish that sentence.
his
That's fucking crazy.
sperm are all the other DNA.
Stop. That no.
So like,
I'm
what
having.
if he had kids?
No, I can't. That blows my mind.
Stop it.
That blows my mind. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that, people.
Spitting everywhere.
I am. Because like this has like this has like implications beyond
It really
just
does.
this. When you allow your mind to just kind of wander down any road that this
It's very 1984. You know
basic
that book,
understanding,
or Brave New World, or whatever.
yes,
Yeah.
where it's like you can take a person who is young and like what's the word, virile,
Yeah.
that, and or the opposite. Like you can take an old guy's sperm, like the bone marrow from that guy, put it in like a young guy who's like got the body that I don't know, whatever. Like
body
I feel
won't
like
stop.
Yeah, body won't stop. Like I feel like there's like if you could do that with, and then why couldn't we do that with like surrogates? Like is this the future of like pregnancy surrogates where it's like you can like just become? My mind
freaky.
just goes to weird places, and I bet everybody who's like in the science world is going, Sarah, here's why that won't happen. But I bet they would have said these things didn't happen before.
Exactly, because in the article, this was in the New York Times, it was saying like they would go. The journalists went to the professionals, sort of like the DNA experts, and they were like, "Don't worry,
Right.
if he had a kid, it would be all his." And how do you fucking know?
Right.
Because this dude had a vasectomy. So when he got the new bone marrow,
oh my
like,
God!
ran through it.
Yes.
It was like, here we are, and we're ready. But like, would that affect the vasectomy? Is he now fertile again? I don't think so.
I have so many questions. I'm going to have to I have a friend named Paige. Shout out to Paige. She's a geneticist, and she works at one of these labs. I'll ask her.
Then here's another freaky twist. If your donor is a woman,
Right.
then you have both. And so sometimes when they like are trying to identify a body, they take your DNA and it'll say this was a woman, and you're looking at the body and you're like, that ain't a woman. So that's confusing in that
What
respect.
about crimes?
Exactly.
I'm telling you, we can write an entire series of crime novels based just on this.
One guy,
You're a detective.
The one guy was in jail, and then
oh my God.
a crime was committed, and his DNA showed up.
And they're like, it can't be him because he's
it
locked
was his
up.
twin brother who had gotten his bone marrow.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
See?
So both of them are deviants.
Oh.
Regardless
So
of
now
the
there's
DNA.
like a point that is this like a nature thing?
It's a problem, though, when the police and doctors and all of these people are sort of like,
Right.
that's not good.
And like the consensus is, we just don't know.
Yeah. And
I hate when they say
it
that.
said in the article, like, it would be very unusual for a bone marrow recipient to also be the victim of a violent crime or whatever, but it's not.
It's not impossible.
We can't act like this isn't going to happen.
And this is the thing with coincidences, is with the amount of people we have and the amount of possible situations, people are bound, the weird stuff's bound to happen.
Yeah. So,
dude,
it's freaky.
That is some freaky ass shit.
And I don't know why I never thought about that, about any kind of donation, whether it's organ or blood, bone marrow. I never thought about the DNA implications, I guess, because I just don't understand how DNA works.
That's a really good point, because in my mind it was like, well, wiped clean, but that doesn't make sense because it would have to replace the cells. And that's why, like, when they're doing, or my understanding of it, what the hell do I know? This is not the world I work in. But, like, when they're creating organs from stem cells, that you have to have a structure to first spray. Like, it has to just be like cartilage, like the scaffolding almost of the organ.
Yeah.
And you have to have that stripped of all of its cells, the DNA containing stuff. So then you can spray, almost like spray paint, these cells that with all that information on it, and then they start to grow off of the graft. But if you, so in like, I can understand because you're all starting with the same, it's like that same DNA, but I don't understand what happens when you put a liver of somebody or a kidney of somebody else in.
It tickles me, though, when, like, you have these very complex ideas of identity and DNA and body parts and stuff, but then they'll be like, and then we spray paint.
Right.
You know, like,
no joke.
There's always an element like that where you're like, this seems like not advanced.
Right. It's like a yes, just like one of those things with all the cells of the new thing that, and then you like tell it what you want it to be, not like with your words, but like,
yeah. Well, I also think it's interesting when you think about personality. Like, if you have the DNA of someone, does that, the doctors on the article were like, no, but I'm like, why not?
Why not? Ooh, there was that really good movie called, I think it was called Iris or I or something. I think it was Iris. Oh my
that rings
God.
A bell.
That was one that didn't get enough buzz in the theater or anything like that, but it was so good. But also, I think I watched it on a plane, so who knows how good it really was.
We don't know.
We don't know. But I think it like spoke, like I understood it. I could be like, oh yeah, this is like a thing. I believe this.
Well,
Whew,
the book
love
that
it.
actually my book club pick for this month is called When Breath Becomes Air, and within it is a description of certain types of brain surgeries that are done, and how, and we know this to be true, if you, for example, miscalculate even a hair in the brain, they can come out and be a totally different person.
Totally. Yeah.
And it made me wonder, like, thoughts of who are you? Like,
Right.
if a small millimeter incision changes your entire identity,
yes.
it just makes me wonder if anything is for sure.
I think
Kind
kind of no.
It freaks me out.
It makes me feel optimistic because it shows that there's neuroplasticity. And the same way that you can, with real easily slip and you know, there can be like a change, and we're like assuming it's negative, but it could be for the better. Who knows?
That's a good point. I guess those ones don't really come back
They
and complain
don't, right?
about it.
They're like, you know, he was a dick, but now he's really nice.
Good point.
So, because I could
Although,
go,
sometimes I think you do hear that with dementia.
yeah.
Where they were a total asshole and then they get real
wow,
sweet.
they're so sweet.
Yeah.
But it really shows, and I think we see this with the rise, and I think this is really going to start growing, use of like psychedelics in curing, and I really can say the word curing because like smoking and addiction and like opioid use and, you know, just like a lot of PTSD symptoms. And I think by firing up all of those neural networks and then allowing the brain to kind of like re-choose which one, that we can change those personality things, those things that we think. It's really just like exposure and like our environment and repetition of behaviors. But nothing's really fixed, if you ask me.
Yeah. I think people in religion get attached to it, though, too, because, like, the concept of a soul even feels permanent, a fixed idea of, like, this is who I am, this is my essence. Yeah. So to think that could be changed by just, like, a small miscalculation during a surgery, you think...
And I think also when they put it in, it's the creator made us, and, like, that would mean that, like...
It's immutable. That's who I am.
Correct.
I mean, that's how they justify their bigotry towards trans folks and stuff, too.
God.
But anyway, let's change the subject.
Yes, let's.
Because we have a guest today whose name is Cora Harrington, who you know as the Lingerie Addict. Sarah's
fangirling like crazy. Oh, it's a good thing you didn't have me on to do this interview. We wouldn't have gotten through a thing because I'd have been like,
Sarah
and I
has a
love you in that
crush.
one picture, and the one where you made the halo glow. That was one of my favorites, and I loved all three of that series that you did. Yes, God, I love her.
Well, I'll tell you what I love.
Tell me.
Rothy's.
Oh, love them.
I bought 2 pairs today.
Oh, which one?
I got the sneaker in
it's like I've forgotten
sand.
about my Rothy's. I need to bust those out. It's been a minute.
Well, you've been the boot girl lately.
Yeah. Well, starting to. Yeah, seasons are changing.
I got the sneakers in sand, like a tan
Oh,
color.
nice.
Or
Oh, that's
khaki.
going to look very classy.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's chic.
And then I got the flat in maritime blue
Oh, pretty.
for, springtime.
Yeah.
But they're great because they're stylish, but they're super comfortable and they're made from recycled plastic. And
Love
so
it.
all this sustainable stuff you've been hearing about, now you can have it and you can enjoy it. And here's my pitch for it. These shoes are indestructible.
Yes.
You wash them and they come out of the washer looking perfect. Can you believe that you can do that? I cannot. And I've had mine for years and they're still white.
Yeah.
Come on.
Gorgeous.
Blow your mind. Go to Rothys.com.
Amazing. Sorry, I'm just thinking about your white shoes and how, like, what's taking me so long? Why don't I have those yet?
Check out all the amazing styles available right now at Rothys.com/braincandy. Go to Rothys.com/braincandy to get your new favorite flats. That's ROTHYS.com. Comfort, style, and sustainability. These are the shoes you've been waiting for. Head to Rothys.com/braincandy today. You are going to love Cora. She's a badass bitch. She is smart, she's funny, and she's kind. And I love that she's inclusive and encourages lingerie and undergarment makers to be inclusive as well, size inclusive and race inclusive, etc.
She's made me feel better about my body and about admiring myself and in beautiful. Like, I never bought beautiful lingerie until I started following her.
And I love that she believes that lingerie is about you and
Yes.
your worth,
Yes.
not about what you can do for a man.
Showing it off. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what made me feel more beautiful in wearing it.
She's
I
our
love
cup
her.
of tea.
Yes.
Check her out on all the social medias and also on her website. Cora Harrington, the Lingerie Addict. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on Brain Candy. I feel really honored to talk to you because I'm a huge fan of your blog and your Instagram. You're a stunner. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me to be on the show. I'm really excited.
Okay, here's what I want to know. For starters, whenever you began your blog, you kind of, I don't know, sort of fell into it a bit. And I wondered, like, what was your intention when it all got started? What was your goal?
So I didn't really have a clear goal or focus or idea of what I wanted my platform to be when I started it. I started it off as a hobby. I had a completely different career before I began doing the Lingerie Addict full time, which was in nonprofits. And I started my blog, which was called Stockings Addict at the time, as a way to just relax after work and to do something that had absolutely kind of nothing to do with trauma or violence or
Right.
any of the other things I was dealing with at work on a daily basis, and to share some of these really cool things that I was running across online, because also lingerie e-commerce was picking up around then. And then the site grew on its own and it grew organically. And it was actually several years before I realized that it might be becoming, a thing.
Right. That all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, you've stumbled upon something and it was just a hobby for you, right?
Exactly. That's how it felt. I was seriously evaluating my career and kind of what direction I wanted to go in with my career, if I wanted to stay in nonprofits, if I wanted to go back to school, if I wanted to do something entirely different. And right around then, my site started actually making a little bit of money, not a lot, a little bit of money. and I thought, well, okay, well, what if I did this?
Right. And then I'm fascinated with how you became so knowledgeable, because it's not as if you were an expert all along, right?
Right. Like I said, I came from something completely different. My degree isn't in fashion or PR. I didn't live in New York until very recently. So yes, the answer to that is that I've done a lot of research. I was also wrong a lot in those early days, and I think it's important to own that. Nobody ever starts from a place of full knowledge or full awareness. Nobody ever starts something as an expert. And so once I realized that this is what I wanted to do, and I became aware of how little that I know, because I also don't come from a background of sewing or anything like that.
Yeah.
I started just reading everything I could on the topic, every book about lingerie, every book about the history or the culture of underwear, fashion books in general, or fashion history books, because they give you insight through those changing silhouettes into what people were wearing underneath.
Cool.
I started attending trade shows in New York City that I still go to. And there at those shows, I was able to meet representatives from a wide range of brands, and from some of the biggest brands in America and the world, brands like Notori and Wacol and Triumph and Simone Perel, like very, very popular, very big name brands. I was able to talk to them. I have like great friends, for example, at Hanky Panky now, just because of like showing up and talking to them all the time. It's been very, very, I don't know. Is that siren coming through on the recording?
Oh, that's okay. Don't worry.
Okay.
We'll
yeah,
take
it's
it
New
out.
York. It's never quiet.
Right. I interviewed somebody one time in New York, and she had to go inside her closet just to make it quiet for her.
Yeah.
I felt so bad. I was like, oh, this is tragic.
I started talking to people and just asking them to share what they knew with me. I would ask about things like how they design, or the fabric they were using, or lace. And people were very generous with their knowledge. They were, and some of them, I should say, were excited that here was somebody who was outside of the industry and also communicated to consumers and wanted to know these details that are, I think, not considered very interesting by many people.
Right.
And then the other thing that helped was bringing on other writers, other columnists, because the other thing I realized once I said, okay, this is going to be my job, this is what I'm going to do full time, I need to approach it professionally, not as a hobby, was, okay, well, if there's just me writing content and just me kind of handling an editorial, there's going to be a lot that's missed. There's just a lot I don't know. I only have, the one body. So I only kind of know the experiences of living in this body. And I realized, like, okay, I need people who are more knowledgeable than me in this topic, and also people who can bring diversity of perspective that I lack. And so I think those things together, the reading, the meeting with people, and the bringing on of writers who are more knowledgeable than me in this topic, even though they're writing for me, has done a lot to kind of pull my knowledge and awareness along as the site has grown.
Speaking to that, I'm so impressed with you in the way that you're so intentional, and it seems like you've put a lot of effort into inclusivity and speaking to experiences you have and also ones that other people have. And I think that's unique. How did that become something that was important to you?
Well, I think it's always been important to me. I'm a Black queer woman. I am not kind of the typical person you see in the fashion industry in general, much less the lingerie industry. You don't really see, I think, people like me in advertising or campaigns. Until recently, it felt like most brands weren't targeting Black women at all.
Yeah.
Much less other women of color. The industry doesn't target, disabled people. It's not really going after, I think, in terms of advertising and marketing, people who are older than 25, if you were to look at the photos that they take.
So sad.
I know just from personal experience what it's like to be a minority and what it's like to not see your face, your image, yourself, your identity included. And I want it to the best of my abilities, to the extent of my budget and resources, which are not very big, to make the Lingerie Addict as diverse and inclusive a space as I could make it, which doesn't mean perfect diversity and it doesn't mean perfect inclusivity, because I think some people hear words like diversity and inclusivity and they think it has to be 100% perfect. And that's just not something, that's not a promise I've ever made, but it's also not an expectation I can reasonably deliver on because of the limitations inherent to my site. Yeah. But as much as I can, I try to make sure that inclusivity and diversity and giving people knowledge and awareness without judgment is at the center of what we do.
Well, and you extended it as well to your book in intimate detail. And did you feel like the response was overwhelmingly positive, or did you get any pushback, or what was the
No, I feel
reaction?
like the response to the book has been incredibly positive. I mean, there are always reviews that are negative, or reviews where people didn't like your book or they're disappointed. I don't think it's possible to write a book that literally everybody will like.
Right.
But I mean, by any metric, the reviews for my book, for Intimate Detail, have just been really incredible and supportive. And I mean, I don't know if it's okay for me to talk about this a bit, but while we're on the topic of kind of inclusivity, there were several deliberate choices I made with my book, so that it would feel welcoming and inclusive to as many people as possible. So, for example, one decision that I made was to not include any photographs. So the book is all watercolor illustrations, and it's illustrations of the garments and the pieces that I'm talking about or discussing, and not illustrations of bodies. So that way, as people are reading the text and seeing examples of the things they're reading about, they can imagine them on themselves or in their closet. Whereas I think if you have a model that's right there, that makes it harder if you are not the same as that model to maybe imagine yourself in those garments. And so I really wanted people to feel free to explore lingerie, because that's what the book is about, and not put any roadblocks in the way of that. Another thing I did was the book uses gender neutral language throughout. So there's no reference to women wear lingerie or she, her. And that's because it's not just women that wear lingerie. There are masculine of center or, trans men that wear lingerie or underwear. There are non-binary people that wear lingerie. There are also some cis men who perhaps have grown breasts that would be wearing lingerie. And so that was another part of trying to make the book accessible to many people. And the thing about tweaks like that, and I think just in general, when you're approaching a topic from the perspective of being inclusive, is that to most people, it looks seamless. If you're doing it well, it looks seamless. The average person has likely not noticed that my book only uses gender neutral language.
Right.
But if you are somebody who is not a woman, then you're going to notice it. Like, it's for you.
Yes.
But it also has absolutely no negative or adverse effect on anybody else.
Right. That's what is so cool. Is that this isn't as if you're sacrificing some sort of artistic whatever. It's still so beautiful and so practical and helpful and just a great book. And no one would even notice unless it was, important to them, and they would just appreciate it. It's just all good.
Right, exactly. And I feel like that is ideally the way moves toward inclusivity and diversity and access should look. They should look seamless. They should look like they're just a part of the thing, as opposed to being like, here is a special initiative that we have done.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Yeah, just make it a part of what you do, almost to the point that people can't imagine what you would be like without it.
Yeah, it's no big whoop, and it's just a beautiful thing. And I really was so amazed at just how much thought you clearly put into it, and it shows. And it's such a great book to just keep out, too. It's a piece of art, in my opinion.
Thank you so much. I wanted to put together a book that people will feel comfortable reading, because there, as you know, there is a lot of stigma and there are a lot of weird feelings attached to lingerie, just in general. But also a book that I hoped would stand as reasonably as one can expect the test of time.
Yeah.
Where if you pick it up 5 or 10 or 15 years from now, like, hopefully it is just as enjoyable a read and just as beautiful a book to you as it was the first time you purchased it.
Yeah, I think you succeeded in that, and it's really impressive and lovely. What do you think that lingerie means to you? Because when you talk about how there's some stigma, it doesn't have that for you, and you have this idea of your intention was never about fetishizing lingerie or about dressing sexy for men. It's something different. What is it?
Right. And just to be clear, like, it's totally fine if people have lingerie fetishes, or if kind of their primary viewpoint on lingerie is from like the erotic approach.
Yeah, sure.
It's not judgment. But for me, the way that I access lingerie and what keeps me interested in lingerie, because I've been writing about it for almost 12 years, so keeping that interest level high is important, is the intersection of lingerie with like history, society, and culture. What does lingerie say about the world we're living in? What does lingerie what does it reflect about what people are thinking, or their opinions of gender, or of bodies, or of beauty? What can we learn from where we are today, or where people were in the past, based on their undergarments? Because I believe that lingerie is the thing that you wear closest to the skin. And so it can tell a lot about people's interior lives, even in a way that perhaps their outerwear can't. I'm also very into the idea of moving lingerie beyond the erotic, beyond the boudoir, as I just alluded to, and reaffirming to people that lingerie is a part of the fashion industry, that it is a serious subject of study, that there are things to this topic that are deeper than the surface level. There are things in lingerie that are worth analysis and worth discussion and worth commentary, because I often think people hear the word lingerie and they're like, oh, well, that's just sex. Like, that's all there is to it. And there's also like a lot of study to make about sex. Like, to be real, like,
right?
All that. Like, there will still be a lot of study, but just affirming to people and making it clear to people that there are things in this niche, things in this topic that we can and should have a conversation about. And then I think the third thing is lingerie can be a reflection of your identity and a way to explore and discover who you are and how you see your body, what you want out of life, in a way that can sometimes be far more difficult to do with your outerwear. So, I mean, if you are a closeted trans or non-binary person, you might not be in a place as far as your safety or your access to resources, maybe to transition publicly. But you can still wear things underneath that affirm your gender. Does that make sense?
That is such a good point. Yes.
And kind of giving people the resources, at least online, to explore that part of themselves, to know some of their options, is really important to me, because this information wasn't really out there 10 and 12 and 15 years ago. Like there were little pockets. Like, I mean, there was Live Journal, which was really great. And all these other little pockets of discussion. But I think having a lot of information in one place that's about kind of all those different things, but not about sex, is kind of a part of me showing through the way that I discuss this topic, that there is so much more to it potentially.
Is that what you noticed?
I felt very rambly.
No, I loved it. It's such an important thing to talk about too, and something that most people don't even think about because they don't have to. But over the last 12 years, is that the main thing that you've noticed is changing, is this accelerated discussion and dialogue about gender and sexuality, et cetera?
I think we're seeing more discussion around gender and sexuality and how fashion intersects with and supports our conflicts with all of that. And also more discussion about lingerie in general. And I think a lot of that is because, I mean, we have a generation of people who have basically grown up with the internet. We have social media where people can get in touch with each other, like all over the world, to talk about things. And so there's just been this constant acceleration and sharing of ideas in a way that wasn't happening in the same way like 15 years ago. And it's exciting to see that and to be a part of that and to hopefully be in a position to be a resource to people as they're exploring that topic.
I so enjoy, as I said, following you online, and your images are so, so beautiful. And I always think, does this woman ever just like slap on some gross cotton like jammies, or is it always like luxury perfection?
I am wearing sweatpants right now as we speak.
Thank God. You're human. Oh, what a relief.
Sweatpants and fuzzy Wonder Woman socks.
Okay.
So, it's great. Super glam. It's super glam.
Okay, that makes me feel better because I'm like, dang, she looks perfect in every shot. And I know, Instagram is not real in that sense, but I just can't even picture you in sweatpants. I'm so relieved to know you're comfortable right now. Do you feel equally comfortable, though, in the beautiful pieces that you wear on Instagram and your blog?
I do. I don't wear things that make me feel self-conscious or bad about myself or make me question even how I feel about myself.
Yeah.
So even in my shoots or what I wear on the internet, even if it's, like lingerie or if people think it's sexy, it's still something that feels true to who I am and to who I want to be. And that can look lots of different ways, and it can take the form of kind of lots of different pieces, which I think is part of the point, that you don't have to commit yourself to just like one look or one style if you don't want to.
Whenever, I think when people think about undergarments, especially women, there's a feeling that they're just not comfortable or they can't get the right fit. Why do you think that is, and what's your advice for those folks?
Ooh, I have lots of thoughts about this.
Sure.
So, I think it's a few things, especially in America, kind of in particular, that is not true of other major lingerie markets, like say the UK or France. One significant thing that is unique about the United States that's not really a thing in other European countries, at least, which is kind of where I'm most familiar with intimate apparel, is that America is really, really, really big and really diverse. And there are lots of people that are kind of in more rural or distant areas from major cities, which is where you tend to find the most lingerie boutiques. There are a lot of people that are buying their bras and their underwear from Target and from Walmart and from Victoria's Secret and from Macy's. And that's not like a judgment. Like, that's just the truth. People buy underwear from where they can buy it. And for most people, that's not going to be a posh lingerie boutique in LA or New York or Texas or Seattle or kind of one of those major cities. I should have said like Austin, because Texas is a state, and all the other ones I said were cities.
Oh, no.
But I like for the average lingerie wearing person, whether through cost and expense and that they can't afford to go into one of these boutiques or they don't feel comfortable going, to just like plain geographic access. Most people are not going to have access, or many people are not going to have access to a bra kind of in their ideal size, or a pair of knickers in their ideal fabric mix. It's just not something that's around. And that's something that I empathize with. I grew up in a town about 100 miles south of Atlanta that did not have a lingerie boutique, and that still does not have a lingerie boutique. So, I mean, if I hypothetically, and I would have never done this because the lingerie boutique I'm thinking of had bras that were like $200, which is just not going to happen. But let's say I had the money to spend $200 on a bra. I would have had to travel 200 miles round trip to go. Nobody's doing that. No. That's one big reason. Like just the sheer access, and this gets particularly difficult if you wear beyond like a D or a double D cup. It gets very difficult if you wear beyond like around a 1, 2, or 3X. Just because your options in those stores is going to contract significantly, and you're also just not going to have access to maybe like the most beautiful pieces. Like you're not going to really see those fine laces, those embroideries, those soft materials that for me are part of what make lingerie so enjoyable. So that's one thing. And I think the industry does a major disservice to consumers by not recognizing and acknowledging that the industry is so boutique focused, which I understand. But I think that's a very archaic way of approaching how customers actually shop, which is very, very much through these big box stores and still through department stores because that's what people have access to. So
I was just thinking about how Vicky's Secret has not risen to the occasion of accommodating a lot of people. And
they haven't.
It's very disappointing.
Well, and it's unnecessary for them. I mean, I am very empathetic to the costs of starting and ramping up a lingerie brand because lingerie has very low margins compared to the rest of the fashion industry. It's very time intensive as far as research, product development, and design. It's very expensive to manufacture and produce because you have somebody who's sitting at a sewing machine putting together like those 36 pieces of a bra all by hand. So they're like, it's not like putting together a pair of jeans or a t-shirt. So I am empathetic, particularly for newer brands when it comes to those size expansions, because they are incredibly expensive and they take years and years and years to make that money back. But Victoria's Secret, does not get the benefit of the doubt as far as that goes. They should have. I feel like I'm going off on a tangent now, but. They're in every mall in America. They have so many standalone stores, and how we would be talking about their brand so differently if they had bothered to go up to a G cup in stores. If they had bothered to even go up to a 1 or 2X in stores. And they have the resources to go further than that. Like,
well, that's the thing that's so gross is we know that they could, and they're just not.
They could have. Yeah. And they did not want to see people in those sizes wearing their clothes.
Exactly.
It's just the long and short of it. But, I mean, we will be having a very, very, very different conversation about Victoria's Secret if they had made even the slightest effort, which is part of why it's so terrible.
It is terrible.
So location, geography, access, a big part of why people don't like their underwear, and I don't blame them. It isn't like I was really into underwear when I was still living like in Macon, Georgia, which is where I grew up. And then the other part, I think, is the lack of information and a lack of consumer awareness. Yeah. And so people don't know their options. People don't know what's out there. They know that lingerie has always made them feel a little bit weird and a little bit uncomfortable ever since, the days of, say, like the training bra, which I think is such a weird concept, but also one that like I was exposed to when I first started growing breasts.
Right.
Most of the conversation around lingerie and bras is centered around like, you need a free bra fitting. You have to have a free bra fitting, which I think just doesn't make lingerie sound terribly exciting and fun. Right. It makes it sound very clinical.
Yeah, drudgery.
Like a chore. Yeah. Like nobody's ever like, oh my God, today is free bra fitting day. Like,
you're so right. Right.
And so people kind of go into the topic thinking lingerie is supposed to be terrible, and then it is, and they're not surprised.
That is such a good point.
And they don't know why it's terrible. I think that goes back to the consumer education piece. Like, your bra hurts. and you have no idea why.
Yeah.
You just know that it hurts. You don't know maybe that like the wires are too small for your breasts or the wires are too hard. You don't know that the band size is too big. And so it's slipping and sliding around your body and leaving friction marks. Like, you just know that it hurts. You don't know why, like, the wire popped out of the wire channel, like, because it was under, you don't know that the wire was under too much stress and that's why it popped out of your bra. You just know, like, you just bought this bra and now the wire popped out. Like that, you know what I mean? Like, you just don't know.
Well, that's...
And so people, they're like, well, this is a racket. This is a waste.
Well, yeah, because they feel like they spend a lot of money on something that they still hate.
Yeah. And then I think that's like the final part. People, it takes time and it takes practice and it takes knowledge to be able to recognize what you're looking at. For anything, like, this isn't just true of lingerie, but lingerie is the only thing I know anything about.
Yeah.
It takes time. Like, I call it like, how do you learn to read a bra? Like, when you look at a bra, how do you know what you're looking at? And most people aren't able to see. They're not able to see like the seams and stitches. They're not able to see things like hardware quality or lace quality. That's not because people are unintelligent. It's because people just don't know what they're looking at.
Yeah.
And that's also part of the reason why people are surprised at bra prices, because they don't know the difference between, say, like a Chantilly lace and a Rochelle lace. Like, from their perspective, it's just lace. So like, why does the lace on this bra make it cost $200 and the lace on this other bra costs $15? And so that's one of the things that I really try to do on my site, which is speak to that consumer education piece, like in terms of how things should fit, in terms of what people's options and resources are, in terms of troubleshooting items that they may not like. And I feel like that is one of the places that hopefully the Lingerie Addict can fill a need in giving people the information and the knowledge to make better lingerie choices, whatever that means to them.
Yeah, and you're doing such a good job, because in addition to being sort of just beautiful to look at and aesthetically pleasing, your work is practical and helpful. I've learned so much just from the work that you're doing, so I'm so grateful for it, and I hope everybody checks it out as well, because I think they will be so pleased. And I have a last question that I ask everybody, which is, if you have a car, what do you keep in the trunk of your car?
I don't have a car because I live in New York. So my car
do you have a backpack?
is at my parents' house. They were very kind to let me leave it there for basically ever.
Yes, our New York interviews never have a car, but they usually have a backpack or something we go with.
Yes, I do carry a backpack because that's a necessity when you're out running errands. Right. I always have a water bottle because there's nothing like being stuck in a train underground and thirsty.
How often are you getting stuck in the train these days?
You know what? I don't even want to talk about that.
Everyone's so mad about the MTA. It's so funny.
I'm so upset about it.
I'm sorry. I just put salt in the open wound.
So I always carry a bottle of water, and I always carry something to read.
That is very smart. That is very smart. I love it. Well, I hope you keep up the great work, because you're so talented and special and beautiful inside and out, and we love the work that you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you very much, both for being so supportive and for inviting me to talk with you.
Yay!